The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." But Jesus said to him, "Friend, who sent me to be a judge or arbitrator over you?" And Jesus said to the crowd, "Take care, be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." Then Jesus told them a parable. The land of a rich man produced abundantly. And he thought to himself, "What should I do? For I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, 'Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you. And the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich toward God.'" The Gospel of the Lord. Friends, in our first reading today, we hear a word that comes up again and again and again in the book of Ecclesiastes: vanity. But it might not mean what you think. We usually think of vanity as pride, or maybe someone who spends too much time checking themselves out in front of the mirror. But that's not quite it. The original Hebrew word here is hebel, and it literally means breath or mist or like a puff of air or emptiness. It's something that's fleeting, something that just slips through your fingers. So when the author says, "Vanity of vanities, says the teacher, all is vanity," he's really saying emptiness of emptiness. All is fleeting. All is passing. It's kind of a poetic but honest way of pointing out something I think we've all felt, that so much of what we chase in this life does not last. Sure, it can look meaningful for a moment, but then it's gone. And thinking about this as I was reflecting on the readings for this weekend, I kind of thought that it's like walking back into a hall after a wedding reception, right? The party's over, the music has stopped, maybe you've gone back to grab something you forgot or left behind, and the place is just totally quiet. Empty tables, confetti on the floor, maybe some half-finished drinks. You can still kind of feel the presence of the party that was there, right? But it's not there anymore. It's done. Well, that's life. We occupy this body for 70 years or 80 for those who are strong, as Psalm 90 puts it. But then we return to the one who made us. Earlier this week, I was having a conversation with someone, and we got talking about life and death. And he said something that struck me. He said, "Father, from the moment we're born, we're moving closer and closer to our death." And it sounds grim, for sure, but it's also true, right? See, despite all the advancements in modern medicine today, the death rate is still holding strong at 100%. Now, I don't say that to be morbid, but just to remind us that this earthly life, as beautiful as it might be, is temporary. We forget that sometimes. Sometimes we live like we've got all the time in the world, but in reality, we don't. As a priest, I've had the privilege, and I mean this, the privilege of being with people in their final days and final hours. I've celebrated more funerals than I can count. Those final moments, though, are incredibly honest, I can assure you. I've sat with people in their 90s who have said, "I can't believe how fast life has flown by. It's always gone too fast." Psalm 90 echoes this longing. We heard it today. Teach us to count our days, that we may gain a wise heart. In other words, Lord, help me remember that my time is short, so that I can focus on what really matters. So what really matters? Well, it's not our stuff, or our schedules, or even how successful we look on paper. It's our relationship with God. It's the people we've loved and those who have loved us. It's the kindness we've shown, the faith that we've lived, and the ways that we've tried to forgive, especially when it's been difficult. That is real wealth. That's what surrounds us at our deathbed. Not trophies or titles, but people, family, friends, love, and forgiveness. Let's be honest. No one at the end of their life asks to see their university degree one last time, even though it was in a very prominent place in the house. Doesn't matter. No one asks to see that luxury watch that's been handed on generation after generation. No one even asks to go sit in that fancy car one more time. In fact, no one even says, please go open up my sock drawer and bring all the money I've stashed away. No one does that, because you can't take it with you. But what we do here, over and over and over again, are requests to be reconciled with someone, to express love, to say, I'm sorry, or to say thank you. In those moments, our hearts are laid bare, and what really matters becomes crystal clear. That's why Jesus gives us this sobering parable in the gospel today, right? This man builds bigger and bigger barns to store up all of his grain and goods, thinking that he's securing his future. But God says, you fool, you fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you, and the things that you have prepared, whose will they be? That's a piercing line. It's actually kind of like a punch in the gut. But it speaks directly to the man who asked Jesus to settle a little inheritance dispute. See, Jesus refuses to be dragged into the drama, but instead redirects the conversation. He says this, take care, be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions. Now we know this, but sometimes I think we need to be reminded of this, because we live in a world that constantly tells us the opposite, right? It's fake. The more you have, the happier you'll be. The bigger the house, the faster the car, the more money in the bank, you're set, you've got it made. The more worthy you are. That's a lie. It's a huge lie. Now, let's be fair. There's nothing wrong with saving for the future. In fact, it's wise and prudent to set something aside to provide for your family. I'm not denying that. But even that can be distorted. Inheritance battles are some of the most painful and messy things I've seen after the death of a loved one. Right? Nothing quite brings a family together after the death than arguing about who gets what. It's nasty. It's very nasty. But Jesus saw that too. Some things don't change amongst a lot of centuries, but we are called to live above all of that noise. In his letter to the Colossians, St. Paul today offers a beautiful invitation. It was our second reading. He says this, set your mind on things that are above, not on things of earth, for your life is hidden with Christ in God. In other words, look up, lift up your gaze. Do not get trapped in the little trivial things of this life, but aim for eternity. Aim for the eternal things that do not pass away. So what are the riches that matter to God? What's important to him? Well, I can tell you, it's not barns full of grain or homes full of gadgets. It's hearts full of charity. It's compassion and humility and forgiveness and a loving sacrifice. It's the quiet, small, little daily ways that we reflect Christ through our patience with a loved one, our generosity towards someone in need, or our mercy towards someone who has wronged us. These are the treasures that last. This is the kind of wealth that death cannot take away. And if we fill our hearts with that, with faith and love and mercy, generosity, then, friends, then we are rich. Not just in this life, but in the life that is to come. See, we cannot take our wealth with us. That beautiful, shiny piece of paper from Trent University doesn't go with you when you die. The only thing that goes with you is your character. That you get to keep. Right? The heart, the way we lived, the person we became. So with the time that we have left this morning, maybe we should be asking ourselves, what am I storing up? And what would I like to be surrounded by when my time comes? Because Jesus is clear. In Luke, he says, be rich in what matters to God. Be rich in what matters to God. And that, my brothers and my sisters, is the kind of wealth worth pursuing.